Today we're going to talk about extroverted intuition and introverted intuition. Probably my two favorite functions for obvious reasons. I'm an any hero, so I'm just going to wing it like any heroes do. I would have written some notes about it, but to be honest, I like to just wing it. Yeah. A lot of what people misunderstand about intuition is that it's not necessarily logic. I do know some ENFPs that still can predict what people's intentions are. And it's not a logic-based thing, right? It's recognizing patterns. When you're an extroverted intuition user, you can see people's intentions. And you can understand the reasons of why they're doing things. And you know what they want. I just realized that I'm probably in my shadow right now because I really have an issue starting up different topics, so probably an INTJ right now, which is perfect actually because I can experience, I can feel what the fuck ever. Extroverted intuition. They can, extroverted intuition users can see the future short term. They can't see it long term. They can kind of if you have a higher extroverted intuition user, because if they have high extroverted intuition like an any hero, that means they have an any nemesis, which is in their fifth. So still pretty high. They can see a little bit further into the future, the more likely future, but generally speaking, extroverted intuition is just like this big tree of like possibilities. It's like the any tree. It's the big what if. So these two are, this is what's actually happening right now. So let's say that I'm driving a car and I'm at an intersection. Okay, what if my brakes stop working? What if an airplane crashes into all the cars present? Oh, this is so hard right now. What if somebody, what if somebody just drives up in their, oh my god, tactile, Jesus Christ. What if somebody just, oh my god. What if my battery explodes? That's the kind of like moment, possibility, any tree. So that's basically how any works. It's this big what if. And NI is like that too. Introverted intuition is like that too. But introverted intuition is more like saying what if I do this? What will happen if I do this? It's a lot more concentrated. Extroverted intuition, they're really excited to see the intentions of others because it helps them produce even more what-if scenarios, gives them a fuller picture of different narratives that they can create in their minds. And once they figure out what people's intentions are, they want to be able to help try to see if they can like bring about those futures for people. If you tell an any user what you want, they will be excited to help you if they can. Provided they're not being selfish. I mean, they could still help enact what you want and be selfish, like a quid pro quo kind of thing. But they do get energy just from like helping you get what you want, or at least hearing about what you want. They are genuinely excited to hear about your desires, which is something that NI users could care less about when they're hearing about other people's desires. I mean, they care to some extent, but it's not going to be like deterring them from what they want to do. They always give people options. They always like, say if I was going to some kind of amusement park or something like that, but somebody else was like, okay, what can we do here? And I was like, okay, so we could go to the water slides, we could go try out some new food, we could go blah blah blah, option. But I won't give them a straightforward answer because I don't particularly want to do anything myself. I'm more focused on what they want, generally speaking. Then every now and then I'll have a want and I'll be like, yeah, well, you know, but it's always them first. It's always the NI user first. And if the NI user doesn't know what they want, I'll be like, I want that. They also have a lot of weird insights about society, especially if they're the higher NI users, like higher NE users, like the NE DOMs, ENFP, INFP, ENTP, INTP. They see society as this like whole nest of intentions that are constantly interacting with each other, and they kind of make this like super person of intentions, this like mothership of intentions. So extroverted intuition is picking up on archetypes and recognizing patterns that don't necessarily need to be literal in order for them to make connections. Let's say a guy is involved in like a get rich quick scheme, and he blows all his money on hookers and crap, you know, and an any user would look at that. They would just be like, oh, like that's the story of Icarus. He flew too close to the sun. Like they would make that kind of connection. He didn't put on wax wings and literally fly close to the sun, but it's basically the same thing that happened. And they make those kind of connections, like those very like same kind of pattern, same kind of story, same lesson learned from that story. That's the kind of thing that any users do. A lot of people think that because the two any users know what each other want, or are looking for what each other want, that they're going to make this great relationship with each other. Like, yeah, let's put two any users together because they're both going to care about what the other person wants. But when you have a relationship that's two any users, it's like it's like that SpongeBob and Patrick episode. It's like, what do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? Like, it's very like that. You shouldn't put an any user and an any user together. Any users go with NI users for the reasons that even though it's nice to have this nice comfortable relationship, like you could make it work for a little while. I just dropped my book, but you can make it work for a little while. My first relationship was with an any user, but the issue is you're like, oh, I care about what you want. I care about what you want too. You have this little comfort bubble that doesn't really go anywhere because you're just so focused on what each other wants that it's just a comfort bubble. For a long-term relationship, you want to focus on creating goals together and enacting those goals together. For that, you want to have a straightforward path, and you want to have one person knowing what they want, and the other person supporting what this person wants. It's not satisfying. I know when I'm talking to an any user male, when I'm talking to an extroverted intuition user male, or rather an SI male, because NE and SI are linked together. Because if I am like, okay, what time do you want to set this thing up? And he's like, I'm okay with whatever. You decide. I hate that. I hate when I have to. I can do it, but it is just like the biggest pet peeve to me when it's like, yeah, you know what, we could do whatever. You know, it's fine. I'm okay with whatever. What do you want to do? No. Tell me what you want. Anyway, I think you can notice a little bit that I am no longer. I do have a slightly different tone to me than I do in regular videos. I'm a lot more to the point. It's actually really hard to tangent right now because I'm in my shadow. Introverted intuition people, they see the future too, especially higher introverted intuition users. But they have a really streamlined vision of the future. It's not like this big tree of this is the present, and this is a possibility, and this is a possibility, and this is a possibility. It's not like that. It's like that. This is the present, this is the future, and it goes one way. To be fair, that future can change, but it doesn't go like that. It goes, okay, we're going towards this future, and now we're going towards this future, and now we're going towards this future. There we go. And it's very like it's a lot of focus. There's a lot of focus involved. Extroverted intuition is insight. Introverted intuition is focus. I notice that when I am in my shadow, I am a lot more likely to daydream. When I'm alone by myself There's a lot of daydreaming going on. I think that is because introverted intuition is at work, and it's actually not extroverted intuition. There might be a little bit of extroverted intuition just to get the daydream started. It's like, oh, here's a possibility. Let me just like get sucked into this one possibility for a little bit, just for about 2 hours, and like zone out completely. If you have a higher NI user, they're not really there. It's the same thing for NE users. They don't seem like they're, as Brendan said about ENTPs, they have a very strange look in their eyes because they're not looking at what other people look at. They're looking at strange things that other people wouldn't even think to look at. So it gives them this weird kind of eye pattern where they're just kind of looking around at things that don't really make sense to look around at. But anyway, back to the NI users. So they get sucked into daydreams. They're really wanting, and NI users' eyes are very distinct, especially when they particularly want something. Like if a guy is attracted to me, I can generally tell if he's an SI user or an NI user by the look in his eyes. SI users are kind of like very doughy eyed. They're very like because they're, well, SI and NE are the same thing. You gotta remember, SI and NE are like the two sides of the same coin. If somebody is an NE user, they're also an SI user. So NI is very doe-like, very like receptive to other people's desires, other people's experiences. They're kind of like looking around like prey, essentially. And NI users are very predatory and they're very focused. If an NI user guy looks at you, it's kind of like he's like, you know. NI users look very predatory, but not in a bad way. But they can't. NI users also, especially higher NI users, they can't stop thinking about their vision. A lot of the times when you're talking about NI heroes, they will see a vision and they'll get so sucked into that vision, that future, that they are so set on that future might as well be real. They will react to that future as if it is a real thing. I was talking to an INFJ about basically cognitive function mechanics. We were theorizing how a certain personality type would react to a certain situation, and I was like, no, I've literally seen this type of personality type react like this in multiple scenarios to that certain set of circumstances. And he was like, but when I envision it, that personality type does this. And I was just like, it was something that he had said over several spans of conversation. So I was starting to get the picture, and I was like, just because you envision it doesn't mean it's real. Doesn't mean it's valid. So a little thing for NI users to keep in mind there, NI heroes. Just because you envision it doesn't mean it's real. But it's really hard to convince them of that because they are so certain about their futures. And especially if you have somebody like Brandon, for instance, he's made a lot of predictions about what is going to happen to me with his NE nemesis, and they turned out to be true. So it's very hard to convince an NI user, especially when they've been right over and over, and like, fair enough, it's hard to convince them that their future isn't actually happening yet. And that's their reality. Their future is their reality. It's all they can focus on, especially for the NI heroes. The NI heroes have such a low SI that reality is kind of irrelevant. What matters is the future. NI users, obviously, because they have such a strong vision of the future and they think that they know what's right, they like to call the shots. And it's like, fair enough. That's why they should be paired up with NE users, because when you're dealing with an NI user and they're like, these are the way things have to be, you don't want your partner being an NI user as well, being like, no, this is the way that it has to be, like this, I know what's right. And you're having two people like bashing their heads together like, I know what's right, I know what's right, I know what's right. it doesn't. It's not good. And they do say that NI users and NE users are very complementary sexually. So that's something to keep in mind. I don't have any personal experience with NI users yet, but from what I can feel, I do feel a lot more chemistry just by talking to them. I feel a lot more chemistry with NI users, especially NJs. NJs are really really nice to hang around. But yeah, I hope you would have enjoyed this video. If there's anything that I can work on, if you see anything that might need tweaking, if you get a bad experience, which is very likely because I'm an aside demon and I'm sorry, but if you think there's anything I can improve on, let me know in the comments down below, or whichever way they're gonna be in the future. I don't know. And I'll see you later.